Have you ever stopped to think about what's actually going on inside your head when you hear a song you love? Well, today we're going to dive into how music in school does way more than just teach you songs. It can literally supercharge your brain, help you connect with people, and even open up some pretty amazing career paths.
Okay, so let's get right into it. When you're learning an instrument or even just really listening to music, your brain is firing on all cylinders. Seriously, it's not just background noise, it's a full-on mental workout that lights up more areas of your brain at the same time than pretty much anything else you do. And what does that workout do? Well, scientists have found that music training actually strengthens the connections between the two sides of your brain. That can mean a better memory, which is, super helpful for that history test, and it sharpens your problem-solving skills. It even boosts what they call spatiotemporal skills, which is just a fancy way of saying it helps you see patterns and think ahead, something that's a game changer in math class. Oh, and yeah, it's also a fantastic way to just chill out and de-stress. So the big takeaway here is pretty clear, right? Music class is so much more than a fun break. It's a legit workout for your brain that can make you a stronger, more focused student across the board.
Music education itself has been on a wild journey. If you go back a few hundred years, it was mostly about learning religious songs. Then, fast forward to the 1800s, and schools started putting together the first bands and orchestras. The 20th century rolled in, and suddenly, jazz, rock, and pop started showing up in the classroom. And now, you can compose an entire symphony on a laptop. It's incredible.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about your own musical journey, because it all has to start somewhere, right? And usually it begins with that one big decision. Which instrument are you going to pick? And once you pick an instrument, you'll probably learn to read sheet music. Just think of it like learning a secret code, a code that musicians all over the planet can understand. Once you crack it, you could play a song with someone from a totally different country, even if you don't speak a single word of the same language. How cool is that? Of course, getting good at an instrument is a process. It's a journey with a few key steps. First, you find that instrument that just feels right to you. Then comes the hard part, practicing, ideally every day. A good teacher can be your guide, showing you the ropes. And then, before you know it, you'll feel that amazing rush of mastering your very first piece of music. Now, once you get the hang of your instrument, a whole new world opens up, playing with other people. And trust me, this is where the real magic happens. Look, playing solo is awesome. You have all the creative control, but being in a band or an orchestra, that's like being on a sports team. You have to listen to everyone around you, you have to collaborate, and together you create this massive layered sound that's way bigger than anything one person could do alone. I mean, just picture a school orchestra. It's the perfect example of musical teamwork. You've got all these different instruments, usually from four main families, all working together to create one incredible sound. So you've got the strings, they're kind of like the heart and soul of the orchestra. Then you have the woodwinds, adding all these bright, colorful textures. The brass section brings the power and the drama, those big, epic sounds. And holding it all together is the percussion, providing the rhythm, the heartbeat, and all that extra excitement. Each one's got its own job, but they have to be perfectly in sync. So who's in charge of this whole operation? That would be the conductor. They're like the coach of the team or the director of a movie. Standing up front, they use that little stick, called a baton, to guide the orchestra's speed, which is called tempo, and its volume, which we call dynamics. They make sure everyone is playing together as one single unit. Now, to make sure everyone in that orchestra is literally on the same page, musicians have a set of rules they all follow. It's kind of like the grammar of music, and it's called music theory. But don't let the name scare you. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Really, music theory is just the instruction manual for music. It explains the why, like why certain notes sound amazing together, and why others, well, don't. It's the secret formula behind every song you've ever loved. And here's the cool part. Once you understand a little bit of music theory, you start to hear music in a whole new way. You'll be able to pick out specific instruments in a crowded song, notice all the subtle changes, and just appreciate the insane skill that goes into making it. Here's a challenge. Next time you listen to a song, try to focus on just the bass line and see what you notice. Because once you know the rules, you can start to bend them, break them, and create something that is totally and completely new. This is the moment you go from just being a listener to becoming a creator. And honestly, there's never been a better time to create. You don't need some huge, expensive recording studio anymore.
With apps you can get on a computer or even a tablet, you can write, record, and produce your own tracks. You can literally be a one-person band and create a sound as massive as an entire orchestra, right from your bedroom. And the amazing thing is, there are just so many different styles of music out there to explore. Whether you're into the complex patterns of classical music, the smooth improvisation of jazz, or the high-energy beats of electronic music, there's a whole universe of sound just waiting for you to discover it. So, what's your go-to genre? All these skills you learn can open up doors to some really exciting careers. I mean, sure, you could be a performer on a huge stage, but you could also be a film composer, creating the soundtrack for the next big blockbuster, a sound engineer, working with your favorite artists, or even a music therapist, using the power of sound to help people heal. The possibilities are seriously endless. So here's what it all boils down to. Music education gives you the tools not just to appreciate music, but to make it yourself. It gives you a voice. The only question left is, what are you going to say with it? What kind of music will you create?